Let's get to the first story. Civilian-dependent wife demands salute because of her husband's rank. TLDR, civilian-dependent wife demanded to be saluted because her husband was an officer. Used her clout to get enlisted to salute vehicle stickers. Enlisted followed orders and saluted vehicle stickers, prioritized them over officers. And even empty vehicles in parking lots. There are a handful of rules to saluting in the American military. The when, why, and how is drilled into you from boot camp until the day you leave. Even the order in which the salutes are rendered has meaning. When it comes to vehicles, there are helpful insignia and stickers to indicate if it's an officer, such as a colored sticker located on the front windshield. My base was small enough where it was everyone's job at some point to do sentry duty at the front gate, which had housing for military families. Sentry duty was pretty basic. You'd stop every vehicle, check IDs, and then wave them through. If they were an officer, you'd see it coming with those colored stickers. And after verifying the identity of the officer, you'd salute and send them on their way. One day while on duty, I approached a vehicle with an officer's sticker, and there was only the officer's wife driving in the vehicle. I returned her ID, wished her a nice day, and waved her through, pausing with a stern look. "Where's my salute, petty officer, citizen alpha?" Now Karen here was wife to a higher-ranking officer, and has fallen under the impression people are saluting her somewhere along the way. Some of the junior enlisted might have even been saluting her, as they're pretty easy to bully and more prone fuck-ups. I politely replied, "Ma'am, salutes are only rendered to commissioned officers," angrily pointing her chubby little fingers at the front of her windshield towards her husband's officer sticker. "I have a sticker and you need to salute the sticker." Curtly I continued, "I'm afraid that sticker is not an officer either." Frustrated, she pulled through and left my post. My cover guy, which is the guy keeping me safe with a big gun, and I watched her drive down the street and pull right into the administrative building with the top brass, and huffed into the building as quickly as her soft shitty body would take her. We exchange a look between us with wry smiles, knowing exactly where this is probably going. Later that day we get a new official base-wide mandate. From here forward, all enlisted will salute vehicle stickers of officers regardless of who's in the vehicle. Roger that. This is where the malicious compliance comes in. It's worth noting that when you salute an officer, as enlisted, you do it first, and you hold that salute until you are saluted in return and they lower theirs. Only then do you lower your salute. It signals that you're saluting them, and they're replying. Additionally, when saluting a group of officers, you generally direct your salute and greeting to the highest-ranking individual. Now, as far as I know, this stupid sticker salute order has no accommodation for how a 2004 Toyota Camry fits into the officer's pecking order. Additionally, if the car is unoccupied, it's not like that sticker is removed. After that order came through, we all began saluting stickers. Personally, I'd direct my salute to the sticker. I would also prioritize sticker salutes over officers. Let me tell you, walking through parking lots was a blast as I saluted empty cars on my way to wherever. More and more people saw me doing it, and more people started doing it. Not long after, the order was publicly rescinded, which hilariously had the balancing effect of never rendering a salute to anyone but a clearly known officer, cementing Karen never getting her unearned salutes. On to the second story. Going along with a sexist car salesman. OCM. I originally posted this as a comment on car dealer shenanigans. My wife and I have used a salesman's sexism against him, and it was so satisfying. It was when we bought our first new car. We were nervous that we didn't know what we were doing, so we did a lot of research. And it helps that my wife is a librarian. When we got to the dealer, the salesman would only talk to me. I was all buddy-buddy with the guy too, but he completely ignored my wife. We went along. The dealer was running a promotion where they would give you $X for your trade-in, no matter what condition, if you can drive it on the lot, kind of deal. Of course, they just don't discount off of MSRP in those cases, so it's a gimmick. When we walked in, the salesman asked which car was ours parked outside, and then asked if we were trading it in. I said no, we weren't trading that car in. You can see where this was going. As I said, we had done our research and knew what a fair price was for the car we wanted. At the time, Edmunds had detailed dealer-level price information for many new cars, including all the various ways a dealer gets paid and what their true costs are. The invoice price is not their true cost. I negotiated the price since he wouldn't talk to my wife, and we arrived at a number I thought was fair. Actually, we got a good deal at that point. Everything was going smoothly as he wrote up our agreement until he confirmed that we didn't have a trade-in. I said, no, we were trading in a car, just not the one we drove into the dealer in. He literally froze for a few seconds, looking down at the form, his hand hovering over the page. He asked the make, model, and year of our trade-in, and when I told him, he sputtered and balked. The car we were trading in was on its last legs. I'd had it all during college and it was old before I bought it. It was definitely past its prime. I said I thought you were running a promotion where the quality of the trade-in doesn't matter. I asked him if he would have given us a higher price if he knew we had a trade-in. My wife said under her breath, "That's sleazy." He heard as she intended him to. He then tried to renegotiate the price. We knew from our research that if they gave us the price we had already agreed on, and they honored the trade-in deal, that they would be losing money. So we were willing to move a bit, but we wanted to take our time. He was visibly nervous. Every time he tried a new way of asking for a higher price, I would say something like, "I understand what you're saying," with a sympathetic look. Then I would look at my wife and she would look back at me and silently shake her head no. I'd then look back at the salesman and shrug and say, "I don't think that's going to work." He was stuck. She was the one standing in the way of him getting out of his predicament. But he hadn't talked to her at all. He had barely even acknowledged her presence. He just couldn't start talking to her now when we were negotiating. Oh, and I even got to use the classic car salesman line. "What do I have to do for you to put me this car today?" We finally agreed to raise the price to an amount that, after figuring in the trade-in, was what we had thought was their break-even price. We hadn't expected to get that low of a price, and we also got them to install a nice aftermarket sound system. It's the best deal we've ever gotten on a new car. Honestly, we're not the best negotiators individually, but that day we made one hell of a team. Let's get to the third story. Try telling a queer scientist that he has no choice. My husband Chad is naturally a better decorator than many professional designers that have their own shows. Years ago, when he lived in an apartment complex, the rental office staff became aware of how beautiful he decorated his apartment. It really was award-winning, literally. Anyway, the apartment manager notified Chad that his apartment was to be the model going forward. Chad was not happy with this development. Strangers moving through his personal areas, going through his things, possibly stealing things. Unacceptable. The apartment manager was quick to mention that this was a part of Chad's lease. Suddenly, an idea occurred to Chad. "Are you allowed to move or cover up anything in my apartment?" "No, sir, we are not allowed to touch, move, rearrange or cover up anything." "Thank you." Chad put up every piece of male erotica he possessed, and he even bought some more. Posters, figurines, serious art. Even a pile of magazines fanned out on the coffee table, like some kind of doctor's office. Chad called the rental office and warned them against bringing anyone into his apartment that was a child or squeamish about such subject matter. The rental office immediately sent over one of their maintenance men to confirm. Check and mate. That was a good one, but let's get to the fourth story. Use the union guidelines to outsmart an HR woman. When I was a senior in high school, I started working as a cashier at a grocery store. While this was not my first job, it was my first one where I was part of a union and learned about some of the pros and cons of unions, mostly pros like regular raises, breaks, holiday pay, etc. We had a woman there who was basically our human resources person, and we did not get along even before I worked there. I will call her Sally. I came in for my interview and Sally was not there and had left work for the day. I remember apologizing and saying, "I must have mixed up the days. Is there any way you can find out which is the correct day for my interview?" But the manager on duty advised me that I was correct, as they had checked the calendar in her office and she had written it down, and so he, the front-end supervisor, and the other manager, who came in to start his shift, all interviewed and hired me instead. I later heard from the grapevine that she was working to locations and really wanted to be hired full-time at a larger store, which would have been a promotion for her, but instead she was placed the full-time at our location only and didn't get promoted, and that her missing my interview was the final nail in the coffin for her, as this was just one of a long list of mistakes she made. She was always making excuses for why I couldn't put in to be transferred to another department when they were hiring people for those departments like bakery or deli, and kept me as cashier even though it was lower pay. Even so, I came back to work there over my winter break for college. I had gone away to college instead of commuting, and also summer break. Here is where my malicious compliance comes in. Our union states that after a waiting period, I believe it was 3 months, we get holiday pay for working Sundays and holidays. It was time and a half. We also are entitled to a raise every 6 months, and being away at college is not supposed to affect that, since we joined the union before leaving and come back on our breaks and still owe our dues during those times when are still part of the union but away at school. I got my first paycheck stub for the summer and noticed I did not get my holiday for working that Sunday nor my raise. I spoke with a coworker who advised me to speak with the store manager. He was one of the ones that interviewed me and always looked after his staff since we were between union reps at the time. He was a born problem solver and told me right away he can fix the payroll error for me and make sure that I got not only the proper wage from now on, but that I would get the back for the time I should have gotten the raise. but didn't. As far as the holiday pay though, that had to be taken care of by Sally since she was in HR, and he suggested we go see if she was free and speak with her. She just spoke to both of us in a condescending tone about how this was union policy, that I had to start all over again with seniority, and that I had to earn that holiday pay again by being there for 3 months. He pointed out, as did I, that I was getting this holiday before leaving for college and even over the winter break that I had worked, but she just kept saying to me, "It's union policy." My manager calmly tried to negotiate with her and get her to correct it, and even stated that other employees had not had to go through this. I finally just raised my hand to silence them both. "Okay, so you are saying that I can't get my holiday pay even though I was before I left to go back to college at the end of January, due to union policy, correct?" I asked. "Yes," she said with a long dramatic sigh that was meant to say, "Like I have been telling you." I nodded, grinned, and stated, "But union policy also states that I don't have to work holidays or Sundays and that I can't be penalized for refusing to do so. Correct?" My manager grinned at me like he was very proud of me, as he saw exactly where this was going. "Well, yes, that is true," Sally said, looking a bit nervous. "Okay, well then, here is the compromise. Since union policy states that I can't get the holiday pay for working Sundays and holidays, for the rest of the summer I will not work any Sundays or holidays, and per union policy, I am allowed to do this," I said with a shrug. She immediately started laying on the charm about how I am such a great worker and that they really need me to be there to help out with Sundays and holidays, but I pointed out that they had plenty of other employees who were getting the holiday pay that they count on, and I would be glad to return to working holidays and Sundays once I got my holiday for doing so. My manager commented that he and I needed to change the schedule, and casually mentioned how this was going to be hard as he now had to take me off for next Sunday and Monday, as that Monday was Memorial Day and it was a Thursday, but that the store would just have to make it work if they couldn't find anyone willing to come in. Once she had left for the day, he called me upstairs to his office to help with the schedule since I had to work so many days each week. I walked in to find him and another manager there, grinning ear to ear and telling me how proud they were of me for how I handled that situation. On Memorial Day and the 4th of July, I got a call asking if I can come in because they had other people call out sick who were scheduled. I just calmly explained that I was no longer working Sundays or holidays and that Sally could explain why. Before the end of the summer, she found a new position and quit, and the new person was much nicer. One of the first things she did was make sure I and a few other college students who had similar issues with the holiday got our holiday pay reinstated, and when I requested a transfer to another department, she gladly asked around and had me put in the health and beauty aids department that same week. And to the final story, car dealer shenanigans. My wife is a doc. She tired of the frequent service visits her Merc required and visited an Infinity store. She was told that she could not drive a Q45 unless I was present. She called me at work, not far from the dealer. The salesman confirmed what she said. We must both be present for the test drive. Idiots. The landscaping crew was doing their thing outside my office, so I decided to employ them in my subterfuge. I changed into my workout clothes, rolled around in the grass, and paid Hector $100 to drive his rusted out extended cab pickup and long trailer loaded with mowers, me and his crew, to the dealership. The dealer was located downtown on a postage stamp lot, and there was no place to park the truck and trailer without completely bollocksing their only street entrance and parking lot entry. They, move your truck. Me, you told me I had to be here for the test drive. They, who are you? Me, her husband. You called me away from mowing the. They, your pa's truck is blocking everything. Me, are you going to let the nice lady doctor do a test drive? They folded quickly. She bought the Q45 from a different Infinity dealer. That's it for the video. Thanks for watching.